Have you ever noticed how constantly distracted we've all become? You check one notification, and suddenly half an hour disappears. You sit down to study, and your mind starts wandering in every direction. You try to work on something important, but somehow you end up scrolling or watching videos instead. People think there's something wrong with them, but in reality, our environment is filled with so much noise that staying focused has become a challenge for almost everyone. Our attention leaks like water from a cracked bucket. The strange thing is, being easily distracted wasn't always a disadvantage. Our ancestors needed to constantly scan for threats. That kind of fragmented attention helped them survive. But today, that same instinct makes it nearly impossible to concentrate. Research shows that after a single interruption, it takes around 23 minutes to fully regain focus. One tiny distraction costs almost half an hour of real productivity. But what if you could retrain your mind? What if you could dive so deeply into a task that everything else disappears? There actually is a technique for this, and it doesn't come from productivity gurus or modern hacks. It comes from the Zen traditions of Japan. It's called Ichigo Zamai, doing one thing with total undivided attention. Leo Carter was 16 when his life felt like it was slipping through his fingers. He wasn't bad at school. He understood math, physics, programming when he actually focused. But he never managed to stay focused long enough to get anywhere. He'd sit down to study, and 2 minutes later, he'd be scrolling on Instagram. He'd open a calculus book and end up daydreaming about working at a top tech company. He'd start a video lesson and pause to check the score of a game. Leo wasn't dumb. He just couldn't stay present. He had a dream, a big one. He wanted to get into one of the top tech universities in the world, a place like Caltech or MIT. But his grades weren't even close. His friends joked with him, saying he'd never make it. His parents encouraged him, but they also kept telling him the same thing. You need to stop getting distracted. Leo knew they were right. The problem wasn't ability. It was attention. Every time he tried to study, his mind pulled him away to something else, anything else. He dreamed more than he acted. He imagined his future, imagined success, imagined that moment of proving everyone wrong. But the reality remained the same. His books stayed closed, his assignments unfinished, and his dream slipped further away. One day, after receiving yet another disappointing math grade, something in him broke, but not in a bad way. He was tired of being average, tired of watching himself fall short. And instead of giving up, he decided to do something different. He asked for help. After school, he went to see Mr. Sakamoto, the physics teacher known for his calm presence. While other teachers raised their voices to command attention, Mr. Sakamoto barely had to speak above a whisper. Students listened because he carried a kind of stillness with him. Leo approached him nervously. "Mr. Sakamoto, I really want to improve. I want to get better grades, but I can't focus. Every time I sit down to study, my mind jumps all over the place." The teacher didn't laugh, didn't judge. He simply asked, "Leo, how many tabs do you usually have open when you study?" Leo shrugged. 10, maybe 12. "And your phone?" "Right next to me." "And your thoughts?" "Honestly, everywhere." Mr. Sakamoto smiled slightly, not in amusement, but in recognition. "When I was your age, I was exactly like that." Leo was surprised. "Really?" "Really. My mind was always scattered, until my grandfather taught me something." He took a pen and wrote 2 Japanese words on a small piece of paper. Ichigo Zamai. Leo squinted. "What does that mean?" "One act fully," the teacher said. "Not just focusing on something, becoming what you're doing." When you study math, you're not someone studying math. For that moment, you are the act of studying math. No separation, no multitasking, only presence. Leo tried to understand. Like, being in the zone? Yes, that mental state during a game or while gaming, when time disappears. But instead of waiting for that state to happen by accident, you intentionally create it. He gave Leo several printed studies, neuroscience research, articles connecting Zen practice with modern attention training. Read these, try what they describe, then come back and tell me what changes. Something inside Leo lit up. He didn't even know why, but he felt like he'd been handed the first real solution he'd ever found. That night, he read everything. He learned how every distraction, every notification, every tab, every sound forces the brain to reset. He learned that constantly switching tasks teaches the brain to stay unfocused. He learned about the Pomodoro method combined with total immersion, deep focus followed by short, intentional breaks. Breaks without screens, without stimulation, just breathing, stretching, being present. He learned something that struck him deeply. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't broken. He simply had never been taught how to use his attention. The next day, Leo tried his first real practice session. He left his phone in another room, turned off all notifications, closed every tab except the one he needed, set a timer, took 3 slow breaths, and began. The first few minutes were rough. His mind kept telling him to check something, anything. But Leo did what the research suggested. He didn't fight the distraction. He acknowledged it. My mind wants to wander. Then gently pulled his attention back. By the second session, it got easier. By the third, something incredible happened. Time disappeared. Leo looked at the clock and realized he had been focused for 75 minutes. He had finished a full assignment, one that normally took him days. For the first time in years, he felt powerful. He repeated the ritual every day. Phone out of reach, 1 tab, clean desk, deep breath, full immersion. And he didn't stop there. He applied Ichigo Zanmai to everything. When he ate, he ate. When he talked to someone, he paid full attention. When he walked, he noticed the world. He realized he had been living on autopilot his entire life. And now he wasn't. His friends noticed the change. "Leo, what's going on with you? You don't get distracted anymore." Leo just smiled. "I'm focused on something bigger." The next math test arrived. Leo sat down, breathed, and entered his state. For the first time in his life, the test felt simple, like the answers were already in his mind, waiting to be written down. When the tests were returned, Leo stared at his paper in disbelief. An A. His first A in math. Ever. Mr. Sakamoto looked at him from across the room and nodded approvingly. Over the next months, Leo's grades rose in every subject. Physics, chemistry, programming, all A's. His parents were amazed. But the biggest change wasn't his grades. It was his mindset. He learned that discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about building a system that makes focus the default. At the end of the year, Leo submitted his application to the tech university he'd always dreamed of. His friends still teased him. "Come on, Leo, you improved, but Caltech, that's insane." Leo didn't get angry. He just said, "I can't control the result. I can only control my effort." 6 months later, an email arrived. Leo opened it slowly. The message hit him like a wave. "Congratulations, you've been admitted." His mother cried. His father hugged him tightly. Leo just stood there, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Not just for the acceptance, but for everything he had learned. He had learned to master his attention. And whoever masters their attention, masters their life. Leo continued practicing Ichigo Zamai in college. While other students collapsed under the pressure, Leo stayed consistent. He wasn't the most naturally gifted student, but he was the most present. And presence wins. After graduating with honors, he became a programmer, then a senior engineer, then a team leader. His colleagues constantly asked, "What's your secret?" Leo always gave the same answer: one thing at a time, full attention. Modern neuroscience now supports everything Leo experienced. Focus training increases gray matter in the brain's control centers. It quiets the wandering mind network responsible for distraction. It strengthens cognitive pathways just like muscle training strengthens your body. Ichigo Zamai isn't magic. It's not mystical. It's not wishful thinking. It's neural training. And it doesn't just make you more productive. It makes life richer, clearer, calmer. You taste your food. You actually listen to people. You feel your experiences more deeply. Leo didn't succeed because he was special. He succeeded because he learned a skill most people never master: the power of focused attention. One moment, one task, full presence. That's how your life changes.